So I have a heavy skepticism when it comes to watching the news, because here's what I know over the years is that there's a lot of money in fear, right?
Yeah.
But as I'm watching Hurricane Milton come closer and closer to the coast, skepticism gone as you look at these models and you see literally meteorologists that are crying on television as they are expecting the worst in Tampa, and the skepticism is gone at this point. This is serious.
It's extremely serious. And I was just scrolling social media yesterday, and one of the space stations had an aerial view of Hurricane Milton. And that thing is a monster. Like, it is just so massive, and it's coming in so hot.
Yeah, they're talking in all these science terms that I just don't quite understand. And for me, the Doppler and the colors are the best thing that you can do, because you can see how serious it is, right? Kristen has a friend that has lived in Tampa and has had to take off.
Yeah, so my dear friend and radio mentor, Randi West, is a resident of Tampa. She has a beautiful home there that I've been fortunate to visit. Has some precious doggos, a wonderful husband, and they have evacuated. And I just, she and I were texting a little bit yesterday, and I just thought it would be, I just wanted to check in with her and see like what's going on with them and what their hometown is telling them to expect post Hurricane Milton.
Hey, Randi.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, so you're at a safe place now, yeah?
I am. I'm at the home of Kristen.
I'm not sure you're safe.
Well, yeah, because she texted me. Small world. So she's in Lexington, Kentucky, where I was born and raised. And she was taking a picture with my old PD, Dead Air Dennis from WKQQ, and they sent it to me. And that's what got us texting. And immediately when we were talking about, hey, this is huge. We definitely need to talk about Hurricane Milton today, because it's what everybody is talking about because of just reason. And I was like, dude, let's get Randi on, because she's in Lexington, like she has evacuated. But then you're going to go from Lexington to where?
I'm going to go to Nashville later today because that's where my brother lives. But the complication now becomes, it's so hard to leave, first of all. For a lot of people to evacuate, it's challenging. Whether you have pets or don't have pets. My husband's back in Tampa with the doggos. I'm in Lexington because I had come earlier for some business, and now you can't get back. And so I was trying to get back before the storm, and now you can't, but you don't know when the airport's going to reopen. And when the airport does reopen, you don't know if you have a house. And then you don't know if you have power. So you have to really get to a secure place. I'm going to go to my brother's, and then we're going to make a decision about when I'm going to come back. And that might be a long time.
So, Randi, let me ask you this as somebody that's never really had to go through one of these things. You've lived in Tampa for a while, so I'm sure that the city itself, some people are just like, oh, I've been through this before. We're just going to stay here. At what point as a resident did you go like, okay, this is no joke. I'm not going to try to stick this one out. Forget about the locals. We got to get out of here.
I think it was about 3 days ago, because to your point, Bert, people don't take it really seriously. If you're a Floridian, you go buy your snacks, you go to the liquor store, you see all the memes on social media, what people do. And I think there is some lightheartedness to it because we're used to it. We're desensitized to it. But this one, I think, is completely different because of the impacts of Helene that just happened, 7-9 days ago. And all of that debris from Helene, which hit the Florida coast, at least the West Coast, very heavily, is still out on people's curbs. And so now when you have a Cat 4 storm coming towards you with 10 to 15 feet of storm surge, that debris becomes projectiles. So I think that has exacerbated this particular storm. And besides the fact that it's coming west to east, which is highly unusual, Tampa has not taken a direct hit like this in more than 100 years. It looks like the track this morning is going a little bit south, but this one has just felt different. It feels a little more like Irma when Irma came through, but this one I think is going to, it's going to be bigger than Irma. That's my prediction.
Was there a frantic rush to get out of town? I think we've all probably seen the traffic that backed up getting out of Tampa, but do you feel like the whole community now is really taking this one seriously?
Yeah, I think for the most part. I mean, you see people who still have their 12-foot skeletons up for Halloween, believe it or not. If they're further inland, or they're just waiting till the last possible minute, and that might be the case. But the traffic has been horrendous. But here's the other complication. If you do want to get out, there's no hotels and there's no gasoline. So some of these folks have been stranded along the interstate, but the interstates have been bumper to bumper. People trying to, I'm actually going to be taking in some families to seek refuge at my house because I'm a little further inland and they're at the coast. And so you really, when making these decisions, you have to kind of decide, hey, listen, if I'm far enough inland, I have a safe structure, leave these hotel rooms and the gas to the people that are at the coastline that are in evacuation zones. Fortunate for our home, is not in an evacuation zone. So we try to stay as much as possible, and I think that's how a lot of people think about this. But the traffic is horrendous. It's a very complicated and scary situation.
Yeah, Randy, we had a Bert Show listener call yesterday and just told us something that was so terrifying and so sobering because she had evacuated from Tampa from the coast. And she said, they had warned everybody on the coast that if you stay, write your name on your body in Sharpie so they can identify you.
I think that's accurate. I know so many people who lost their homes in Helene.
Yeah.
I know about a half a dozen people whose homes are flooded. They currently aren't in their homes because of the last storm, and now this is going to be the storm that's going to take those homes out. Here's the other thing that I think a lot of people aren't talking about is that these floodwaters, when they hit these electric vehicles, I don't know if you guys have talked about that or not, but no one really talked about the fires. People's houses were burning to the ground in Tampa because of these electric cars hitting the salt water, because there are so many electric vehicles now. And if those are caught in floodwaters, it just creates another complication. And then you got down power lines and trees, and it's just a really scary situation. And they are telling people, if you stay at the coast, you will die. You probably saw the Tampa mayor. You will die. 15-foot storm surge is unsurvivable.
And then you got to think post-storm, there is that drive into your neighborhood and that drive to your house and the insecurity of not knowing if you have a home to go back to, and the only way to find out is to drive up to it. Are you prepared for that mentally?
Yeah, I think hopefully if there's power and there's communication, I'm going to know because my husband is there with our dogs. But the scarier part, much like what we saw again with Helene in North Carolina and some other areas that lost power and cell phone service, I don't know that I'm going to be able to contact him to find out if he's okay.
A real scary situation, man. And it's as serious as they are saying. We wish you the best.
Yeah, Randy, thank you so much for taking time to talk. I'm glad to know that your home is far enough inland that it's not in an actual evacuation zone, but I know the storm is still going to be just gnarly. So sending my love to you and Mark and the dogs.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you.
The Bert Show.